squash. It's one of those classics that gardeners love to grow. But if you're like me and you live in the southeastern United States, we have a little bit of issues with little bugs called vine borers. A vine borer is a little moth. It's orange and black, and it lays its egg on the base of your stem of the squash, and then the egg hatches after a week. Then the larvae bores itself into your squash stem and eats the inside of the plant. This causes the water and the nutrients that your plant's trying to send to the leaves and to the fruit to be cut off. But thank the Lord, there are ways that you can prevent this, and there's also ways if your plant is already infested with them. The Lord has given us telltale signs to show us where they're at, and also He made squash resilient, which means that there is a way that you can fix this even though the damage is pretty bad. So let's go ahead and get started. So there are all different methods that you'll find on YouTube and on the internet. One of which I found is the most popular is a BT infusion, or injection, I guess I should say, where they take a syringe and they fill it with this organic enzyme, bacteria, and they inject it into their plants. You know, that might be a route to go if that's what you want to go with, but I'm going to show you a method that I went with that I can show you with these two plants right here that are looking good and healthy again. That works. So you don't have to go and buy BT and get a syringe and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to pull you up to this plant right here because I have not done him yet. This is a squash. This is just a regular old straight neck squash. So I'm going to pull you up closer and show you what I do. Okay, so you'll see that his leaves are wilted. This is a good sign that you have vine borers. The perfect way to see if you have vine borers is if you look here, you'll see some particles. Almost looks like sawdust. I'll pull you up closer so you can see it better. It almost looks like sawdust here, and you'll see like little holes. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, it's very sunny, but this is a perfect sign that you definitely have vine borers. And so what you're going to do is you're going to look, and you'll see on the leaves, you'll see which ones that are starting to turn yellow. You'll see this one's starting to turn yellow, and these are still pretty rich, dark green. So the Lord has given us a way that we can kind of locate where they're at. You'll see this leaf over here is fallen on the ground, it's bent, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to take my knife, and I'm just going to cut this one off. The reason I cut this one off is because this means if it's bent, you can see the damage here. You can see damage here and all that kind of stuff. This means the vine borer has already been here, or he's still in here. If he's in here, then we're gold. Then we're pretty golden. We can take him out. So I just kind of open it up. No vine borer yet. Okay, so no vine borer. You can actually see right here. This is the hole that he left. So this one we can just discard. The leaf was going to die anyway. So we're just going to cut off all these lower leaves. You can see that these are the ones that they already got to. They died off. So I think that there's a pretty good chance that he might be in this one. Only because it's the only one that looks like it's starting to turn yellow. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cut him off. Okay. And you can see, I think that's him right there. I don't know if you can see that or not. But I'm going to open it up and show it to you. There he is right there. This is a baby one. This means he probably just hatched a couple days ago. But there's probably a bigger one in here somewhere. But there's one of them, so I'm just going to go ahead and take him out. Okay, so I think that there's one more leaf that we can try. I'm going to try this guy right here. You can see the damage it's already caused to this leaf. Sorry, I had to wait a little bit because the camera kept getting too hot. It kept cutting out, so it's later in the day now. But anyway, as I was saying, we don't want to remove all the leaves because obviously we don't want to kill the plant, but we want to try to find as many of these vine borers as we can, because if we do the next step that I'm going to be showing you to help heal the plant, but there's still a worm in there, it's not going to do much good. The problem's still going to be there. So we want to try to get rid of as many as we can. But the reason we're removing these bottom leaves is because the Lord made it to where they reroot themselves. So if you were to bury the stem up to about here, it would start producing roots out of here. Well, all of the worms have gotten into the bottom, and they have completely tore up the bottom, and some even up to the top. So it's cut off a lot of the water supply. So right now it looks fine, but during the daytime it droops because it can't get enough water. And so the thing is it reroots itself if it hits moist, fertile dirt. And so if we can get root systems to start growing higher up the stem after we've removed the worms, then we can start producing another way for the plant to produce or to distribute moisture and nutrients. So we're cutting off the bottom leaves because we don't want, again, we want to search for these worms. We don't want any to be left in the plant. But also we're going to be burying the stem, and so there's just no point in these leaves being here because actually the roots emerge from the nodes, which is the little, where the little stems and stuff are. I also unfortunately have a problem with Mexican squash beetles, I think is what they're called. And they're those orange, spiky little grubs, which unfortunately my squash plants have taken a beating this year. But anyway, sometimes they're not in the branches. Sometimes they're actually in the main stem. And so you just want to kind of inspect it and kind of look for the holes and stuff, and just kind of take your knife and just kind of pry around. You don't want to do too much damage to the plant because it's already went through a lot. But you can pry around in there without damaging any more of the plant. Just kind of pry around to see if you see anything moving. Because if you can find the grub, then it will help the plant out a lot. Okay, so I've pried around. I really haven't seen any other ones. I am going to remove one more leaf, just because I can see some damage in this leaf. And that means, you can see the little damage and the holes caused by the grubs. And so, again, you just really want to search it. You don't want to remove too many leaves, obviously, but your plant's okay with you removing, especially ones that are already damaged. Not seeing any, so that's good. I'm gonna remove, let's see, I'm gonna remove 2 more just for the sake of it, because this one was weak. If they kind of just are limp and they kind of just fall down when you touch them, like this one did, that means they've already been infested by it, and you might as well just take a look. So you'll see these spots right here, and this means where the worm has really thinned it out. I can literally just take my knife and just poke right through it. So there could be a worm in this one. Let's find out. And then the last one I want to remove, although there's a lot of them that look like they have damage. This one's got it pretty bad. But I'm just going to remove this last one here. But what I'm saying is, if you go in here and you just barely kind of pull it, see how it breaks off really easily? You can see the damage caused in here. Just go ahead and remove those. Like I said, this one's got it pretty bad, and I don't want to remove too many leaves. Found it. So I just kind of slice it here. This just kind of gets the splitting part to start. See, he's trying to get away, but there he is right there. So as you can tell, I have thinned this thing out pretty much to its last 4 leaves. So I'm just gonna keep the rest of these on there, whether there's worms in there or not, I don't know, but I don't want to kill the plant. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bury it, and hopefully it will make it. So I'm gonna show you the process of what you do now, because now that you've removed the worms, now we need to get those roots to grow in these little nodes here. So that way the plant can continue to distribute moisture in more places than just the bottom. Okay, so you're just gonna take a trowel or maybe a hand cultivator like this. And basically what you're going to want to do is dig it a little trench for the whole body to lay it in, except for the leaves. So I'm going to do, and don't worry about damaging the roots. Try to be careful around it, but don't worry too much about it. Just kind of build a little mound for it. Okay, this is going to cause, so all we're going to do is try to be gentle with it. Try not to push it down too hard because you don't want to damage the plant any more than it already's been through. So you're just going to kind of lay it down and start filling the dirt over it. You know, obviously it's going to be facing this way. So it's going to look like your plant's falling over. That's okay. It will adapt itself. But basically what the dirt is doing is acting almost like a Band-Aid, keep any diseases, any more insects to get in here. And the cool thing about this is where the vine borer lays her eggs is on the actual main stem. Well, if we're burying the whole main stem, and there's nowhere for her to lay her eggs. Just gonna put this on here. And again, it is gonna lift itself up. Again, it's gonna look like it's falling down. But you look at this guy right here, this guy next to it, which I've already done. He was the same way. You could see the way that the main vine was going, and it popped itself back up. Same with these guys, those two over there. Those ones that are looking really healthy, same thing. They just pop themselves back up. Because sometimes they naturally just fall over and they just grow the way they need to grow. But this way, what we're trying to achieve here is to get those roots to grow closer to the top. So that way, not only will it be getting, you know, barely any water from here, obviously because the worms have cut it off, it's still getting a little bit because it's still alive. But if we can get the roots to start up here, then we've got a lot better chance of it living. So now I am going to tell you, squash's maturity date is around 55 to 60 days, because most likely not every single plant is going to make it. So what I would suggest is just have yourself another backup. If you see that your squash is starting to get infested with those worms, just go ahead and start a new seed, and then that way, if these do die, just pop in a new one. In this video, I'm not going to show you how to prevent them. There are many ways that you can do it, and I'll just briefly go over them. Some people say that if you wrap tin foil around the base of the baby plant, they cannot lay their eggs. Another thing that I've heard is that stretchy tape bandage stuff. I've seen people do that. So just wrapping that stem to keep them from being able to lay their eggs on that main vine. Prevention would be a lot easier than having to try to take care of them like I'm doing now. But honestly, I've never had this problem before. This is the first time I'm actually dealing with it. And so I've done quite a bit of research trying to find the best ways to do it. And this is the best way that I found to do it, and it seems to be working with these two plants right here. I mean, it's only been 24 hours. And they used to look like them. Now they're nice and healthy and deep and richly green. That rich, dark green. So this is not a foolproof method. Unfortunately, some of them will probably not make it due to how much damage they've caused, but if you catch it early, that would be best. Prevention would be ideal. Catching it early would be better. And then if you're doing it late, to try your hardest to try to get them to be saved. I think I'm going to lose one right here. He just doesn't seem to be taking to it as well as the other ones. But I'm going to keep trying. But anyway, so the next step that we're going to be doing after you have buried the stem is we need to give it water. It will not root unless it has some moist soil. So if your topsoil is dry, really, really just deeply water it. This will make the roots pop out. I'm also going to be adding some fertilizer. I'm going to be using some fish emulsion. This is just going to cause the plant to sense, oh, there's a lot of nutrition here. I'm going to pop out new roots. And again, we're trying to get those roots so that way there's a new way for it to distribute what it needs to into the plant and to get it back healthy. So anyway, I'm going to show you that. Okay, so I have a 2-gallon watering can. with some fish emulsion in it. This is, like I said, just to fertilize the plant so it feels comfortable and it gets ready to send roots out into that area. So I'm gonna take you guys closer and I'm gonna show you what I want to do. So I know it's kind of hard to tell which one we did because of all the mess that I still haven't done yet. But this one right here, this little one that's kind of leaning over here. So all you're gonna do is take the water and just soak it really good. You want the plant to sense that it's very fertile, and you want it to be wet so that it's able to send out roots. That should be good. This is one that I just did. You can tell that he took to it a little bit better, but I'm just going to give him a little bit of this fertilizer. Sometimes when you do this, you'll see the root or the stalk pop back up. Just take a little bit more dirt and just bury it again. It shouldn't have to be done more than twice if you give it a good layer. Alrighty. And that's all there is to it. Now all you have to do is it's just a waiting game now. That's why you have your backups, just in case. So far, mine have done good. I showed you those 2 plants that took to it really well. I do have one that I think I'm gonna lose, but I was able to save quite a few of them. Praise the Lord for that. So it's just a waiting game now. If you continue to see signs of damage, just go ahead and kind of redo it. If you can catch them real fast before they can make it into the higher stems, try to take them out as quick as possible so that way you don't have to keep burying it. And then just look out for eggs. I've never actually seen one in person, but I've seen the pictures of them, and they're just little red orbs. They're very small, but they take about a week to hatch. So from the time that they lay it to the time that it hatches is about a week. So you have a week to catch it. It's not too hard, and you can save a couple squash plants. And again, it's not some big, huge deal. Obviously, it's annoying and it's sad when things like this happen to your squash plants. And then just have backups just in case. Because again, the maturity date's only 50 to 60 days. So especially if you have a long growing period like we do in the southeastern United States, where we get most of the vine borers, we have plenty of time to grow extra ones. So don't sweat it. But I would definitely say try this. It seemed to have worked. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you found it informative. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to have you a part of this channel. Until next time, guys, keep swimming upstream.